Welcome to the Entrepreneurial CPA show. If you watched an episode before, welcome back. If this is your first time, thanks for watching and tuning in. Let's punch above our weight and break free of the box today and become an entrepreneurial CPA. As always, we're hitting you up with the theoretical and practical skills you need. I'm Garrett, here to challenge you to do something different. And I'm here with the boxing bad boy of Bitcoin, Dr. Sean. See, man knows how to box. But before we get started, Dr. Sean, aren't we getting ready to do something like a keynote or something coming up soon?
Wait, so are we? So I do think that we are doing a whole keynote at the accounting show, and it's being held at the Javits Center right here in in the city in Manhattan. So I mean, and I think it is on July 11th and 12th, right?
That sounds about right.
Yeah. So it's being held on July 11th and 12th, and actually both Garrett and I are going to be doing some individual panels, and presentations and a keynote. I mean, honestly, focusing on the issues, and the topics and the events that we talk about here, but in person and I think and I do think that in a sort of in-person live format, it's a more sort of interactive, I think, conversation. So I'm looking forward to it. I know Garrett is, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah, plus we're going to be doing besides speaking, we're going to do some live episodes of the Entrepreneurial CPA show. So
That's right. So honestly, if anybody is on site at the show, you would have to come by to see us. It could be on our live, episodes right there. Come on now.
Exactly. So we hope to see you all there. Now for today's show, it's brought to you by Pearlera, reminding you that CPE doesn't have to be a grind, nor should it. Focus on your learning at your firms. And Hay & Rock Solutions, providing the roadmap to advisory services. It's what all firms say are looking to get into. Be sure to check them out. On today's show, we're going to do a special Rainmaker SuperConference 2018 Blueprint to Greatness wrap-up.
So, Garrett, I'm going to interrupt you actually right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because out of the two of us, you were there.
Yeah.
I was not. So, actually, you know what? I'm going to do a little bit of, introduction right now. So, if I'm talking about like a Rainmaker, because I know that probably the folks who are watching our show have been, sort of aware of the issues, in the marketplace right now, right? And possibly have actually read some books that have focused on sort of how a Rainmaker, Rainmaker, can go bad. So what was actually talked about at that conference?
Great question. But before we start, I want to point something out. Very important to all our watchers out there.
Oh, come on, Garrett. Cutting me off again?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Last week, Dr. Sean couldn't be there because he was celebrating his birthday. So if you're watching this online, even though it's a belated, send him a belated birthday wish.
Thank you, Garrett.
So back to your question. Rainmaker SuperConference this year, Blueprint to Greatness. Their president, Angie Grissom, talked about how Rainmaker is now focusing on helping firms build out a niche practice. Now they can go in and help them really focus down on figuring out what that niche is and build out a structure and a process around that. To really focus on one service area that they're strong at and not just focus on the tax and the compliance side, but focus on expanding into advisory services. So that was a big bit from them. Some of their big highlights, a lot of the talk, like we talk about here, the need to transition into advisory services. And it was interesting to hear from the other thought leaders, how they want to label that change, whether it's a cherished advisor, relevant advisor, a consultant, advisor, whatever it is.
Sure.
There's different terms for it. We use the term entrepreneurial CPA, but it's that same idea of you need to make that shift from compliance-based to forward-thinking. And a lot of the thought leaders, ourselves included, are looking to help firms make that change. And that was one of the big themes. The other big one is, as you know yourself from talking about technology, is, as a profession, we like to be pretty laid back in our approach and trying to make firms aware that technology is coming faster and faster. And this technology revolution is not going to be 10 years off.
Mhm.
So Dr. Sean, let me kick it back to you. Since you deal a lot of technology, Bitcoin, AI, blockchain, do you still think it's going to be another technology revolution that's another 10 years off that actually impacts firms, or do you think it's coming much sooner?
Well, I would say really that the sort of onboarding and the adoption of anything that has to do with sort of blockchain, AI, or any sort of cryptocurrencies really is, I think, going to be onboarded within the next maybe 5 to 8 years. So I would say that really sort of anybody who is entering the field or who is in the field now, I mean, really does have to be aware of one, the components and the characteristics of these items out there, right? So if we're talking about AI, for just a brief high level view, if we're talking about AI, right, it's going to automate some items out there, but it's also going to open up opportunities for any CPAs or firms who are out there who are opportunistic and who are forward looking to sort of take advantage of those opportunities out there in the marketplace. So really sort of the whole conversation about IT, whether it is on AI, whether it's on Bitcoin, whether it's on a blockchain model out there, I do think it hammers home on a few areas, right? And probably two. Sort of the automation of sort of baseline operations, right? If it's bank recs, account recs, AP confirmations, all of those items are, I think, going to be automated, I think, going forward. And it is not just me. It's all of the evidence out there, in the marketplace right now. All of the big four and probably the top 25, top 100 firms are already out there doing either sort of a prototype or a actual market ready sort of model out there to leverage blockchain and AI, right, to help automate some of these work tasks and everything else. But I think more importantly, and I think tying back to your earlier points, Garrett, is, okay, fine. What do we do with this information, right? So how are we going to leverage all of this data and all of this information to help us better advise our clients, both internal and external clients, to help them make better, I think, business choices going forward? And with that, Garrett, I'm going to toss it back to you.
Sean, I appreciate the input, because that's what it's about. How do we make that change? And that was kind of the what our session was all about, the entrepreneurial CPA, the skills needed of, we talk about, we break it down to the 8 skills you need to transition to advisory services, which includes leveraging the technology. What do you do with it?
8, right?
We count 1, 2, I believe that was 8 fingers. We're
8, right?
Well, we got CPA behind our initials, because we're very good counting with our fingers. Yes, we focused on our session. We had a great session, a great audience, kind of going through those skills you need to make that journey. If you're watching today, I'm sure you're picking that up, because we talk about a lot on our show, in person, and through what we do. Yeah. So as we run out of time, I want to make a special thank you to the whole Rainmaker team that were at the event. They do an amazing, amazing job putting the event together. They're there. They're supporting people when you're there. They keep it running like a clock. If you've attended before, you know what I'm talking about it. If you're in the Rainmaker group now and you didn't attend this year, you really need to check it out. Next year it's going to be in Atlanta and in Georgia. You want to check it out. And if you're not in Rainmaker either and you want to see what they have to offer, check out their website and see what you can do to get started with that, because it's a great way to help.
And I do think, Garrett, the 2 of us should be there next year, right?
I hope so, Dr. Sean. I hope to be back there again talking about how to get firms pumped up.
So blockchain, ICOs,
ICOs. ICOs, let's not get started on those today.
All right. Hold on.
Different show for different time. So that's it. We're pretty much out of time. I want to thank everybody for tuning in today to our Rainmaker SuperConference 2018 Blueprint to Greatness recap. If you got questions about what we talked about today, as always, reach out to Dr. Sean or myself, LinkedIn, Twitter, whatever it is. Keep the questions coming. While you're watching, don't forget, click the little button to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And as always, we challenge you watching today to take action to change the world and invest in yourself.